In our next installment of the 2022 Minnesota Vikings positional preview, we take a look at the offensive line. See our thoughts right after this. The Minnesota Vikings offensive line is a position on this team that has been under scrutiny for the last, I don't even know how many
My whole
years.
life, I feel like.
Right.
Or at least it's felt like it's last that long.
For sure. It's always been one of those positions that you just never felt like it was something we focused on enough. We tried with draft picks and just nothing ever really worked out. But but I think we've gotten to a point where we've finally started to see
100%
forward progress in
especially
this offensive
in
line
one
category.
position in particular where we've absolutely murdered a couple recent drafts.
For sure, yeah. So obviously, like when you think about
these players,
when you think about Brian O'Neill, right? Third round pick, no one really knew. He came in, did amazing. Been one of the most consistent right tackles in the league.
100%.
Christian Darrisaw, people are calling him mini Trent Williams.
He's the future, bro. He's the future.
He is. He's a cornerstone. JJ, TJ, and CD are your cornerstones of this team on the offense for the future.
Wait, what did you say again?
JJ, TJ, and Christian Darrisaw.
You said JJ, TJ. CJ.
No, CD. Christian Darrisaw. CD. And maybe CJ, who knows? But obviously, and then when you look at the middle of the offensive line, which we'll get into in a bit here, I think that is where the biggest question marks lie.
Yeah. 100%. We have Ezra Cleveland. Bradbury is going to be a free agent this year, so it'll be interesting to see what we do with him. Back to Ezra Cleveland, though. We've seen flashes from him, but there's nothing there that we're like convinced he's going to be that guy.
He's consistent. That's one thing I'll give him. He's consistent.
And we'll dive in. Obviously, we're going to see his stats a little bit closer here. And then Ed Ingram, who definitely did not start very well. And outside of his stepping on Kirk Cousins' foot, he started having a better second half to a season. But at the end of the day, he's still a rookie, second round rookie. He could still improve quite a bit. So we've seen some big up and downs from him. There's no question about that. But obviously he's young and he'll get another shot next year. And hopefully we see that progress. Yeah, but definitely. I mean, other than that, let's jump into these grades. But before we do that, I want to thank everybody for watching the GG Sports podcast of Minnesota Vikings, where we endure heartbreak, but always bleed purple. Every single week, we give away pretty much every single week, every live stream almost that we do, we give away Justin Jefferson rookie card. So anybody that's watching and wants a chance to win this, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell, get notifications for our live videos, all our videos, and have a chance to win that. We give it away right on our live stream. It's a super cool thing. So come join us. Let's jump right into this. So I wanted to say last year we did this and we had a PFF overall rank of 23. So going from 23 to 13 is obviously pretty insane. And we even talked about it. It's like all we need is a top 20 offensive line for our offense, which mostly was true in other than second and third quarters or anytime we were up in games. But that's quite the improvement. And it's really nice to see because of how young our offensive line is. And we talked about these cornerstones on it. Yeah. And that's what's really showing in this PFF rank.
But yet Kirk Cousins still took a lot of hits this year, which you could blame some of it on his movement, on his mobility in game.
And holding the ball a lot.
But also, I mean, a lot of it was on the interior of that offensive line. But we will get into that. But you start off with the cornerstones, the bookends. Brian O'Neill.
I love that picture.
1,050 snaps, 5 penalties, allowed 6 sacks, 83.1 PFF grade, 77.9 pass blocking, and 83.3 run blocking. And I feel like that's something you will come to notice is that this offensive line is built for a run-first football team. Obviously, Brian O'Neill was never like that big bully of an offensive lineman, but he was fast. He was quick. He could still hit, but he was great as a run blocker. Obviously, the 6 sacks is unlike him, which is
last
why
year people said, I think.
Yeah, which is why people said this year you did notice a dip, but he is overall super consistent. Obviously, the unfortunate Achilles injury he had against Green Bay. But he's still under contract for a few more seasons, and I think it's great to have a solid right tackle. And at the end of the day, with Brian O'Neill, you're never going to feel bad having him out there.
Right, and I want to also give props to Udo because he came in as right tackle and did a solid job. to the point where I feel comfortable with him as like a backup tackle now going into next season, which
Mhm.
is really good to know, especially from just such a big guy like that. Some obviously there was some stuff that we should have, Mike Zimmer and that when he was around should have not just been placing people wherever he wants on the offensive line.
Yeah.
But Brian O'Neill, super stud, man. I'm so happy we have him. He was like that cornerstone. It's like, all right, we got one guy to build off of. Now we have two guys, but it all started with him.
Yeah.
And he loves being a Vikings. I like his energy too.
Mhm.
Um,
Grade wise, I think B plus is fair. I mean, normally he's an A player, but 6 sacks, you did see a little bit of dip in consistency. So I think
right.
B plus is still a very solid grade for one of the top tackles in football.
Yeah, 100% agree. B plus. That's what I was thinking.
Mhm.
B plus. I can't give him the A. 6 sacks, a little bit too much. Plus his little injury at the end. You can't blame that
Right.
completely on him or anything,
But
but
yeah.
I think a B plus is a good grade for him. And we just know, like, I think next year he could even, of course, have a better season. He's still really young.
Yeah.
So it's
Moving
nice to see.
on, right guard Ed Ingram, rookie coming in out of LSU, second round pick,
So when things get a little
1,168
dicey.
snaps, 4 penalties, 11 sacks, first in the NFL. Is that just for guards or for offensive line in general?
It might just be good for guards.
Yeah,
It's just a PFF
but
will tell you like, oh,
yeah,
allowed 11 sacks. So
yeah.
I don't know if it's
11.
O line in general
Yeah,
or if it's guards.
yeah.
And I also didn't check if it was tied for first, but
Okay.
whatever. It's first
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah. 11, yeah. So 11
It's a lot of
sacks,
sacks.
two starting quarterbacks feet stepped on,
At
57.1
least two.
PFF grade, 44.4 pass block, 63.4 run blocking grade. I mean, obviously, run blocking I feel like is easier, just in general, much easier for
Yeah.
offensive linemen than pass
Even though we
blocking.
felt like our interior run blocking wasn't the best. I mean, you could blame
Right.
it on
I
Delvin
mean,
Cook.
yeah, you
Casey would
probably
blame it
could.
on Delvin Cook, but there was times where his
Yeah.
ass just got blown up
Right.
behind the line of
Mhm.
scrimmage.
But obviously, Ed Ingram, rookie, so there's going to be some growing pains. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I solid. I mean, not even a solid season. A lot
He
of
had
growth room for Ed
improvements. He
Ingram.
had improvements in the
Right.
second half for
And
sure.
he didn't miss a start, and that's a big thing
Yeah,
too, consistency. And he has the talent, but it's all
right.
just it's progression. And obviously, starting as a rookie is hard against the beefy interior defensive linemen that teams have nowadays. But
Yes.
so I think there's going to be a lot of growth that'll come from Ed Ingram. And again, starting a full season as a rookie is a huge first step, and now we just got to keep making improvements.
Yeah. Yep.
But grade wise, if there's nothing else to really say here, I think a C is fair.
I'm going with I'm gonna go all the way down to a D. Like
Okay.
obviously he's a rookie. You have to give him a break. But I'm gonna look at all these at face value and not really like kind of give him the rookie thing. Hopefully he steps up next year and we see that improvement and he can go to like a B would be huge.
Yeah, that would be.
But based on this, if you were gonna compare him to like all the other guards in the league, some people probably give him an F. I'll give him a D.
Okay, that's fair. Moving on to the center, Garrett Bradbury, 809 snaps, 4 penalties, only 2 sacks allowed, 70.2 PFF grade, 68.1 PFF pass block, and 72.4 run block. Obviously, we came into the season. We did a video before the season. Garrett Bradbury's got to go, and
Yeah.
overall, he played very well this year. When the games he missed, you noticed he wasn't out there. I mean, Schlottman played well in his being his replacement, but I don't know. Like you got to give props to Garrett Bradbury.
Right.
Again, I think we move on. I
Yeah.
think you try to find a bigger guy for that, and that's the thing. I think the middle of this offensive line, which we'll kind of get into when we talk about Ezra Cleveland next,
Right.
is
Right.
size, just overall
Yes.
size.
Yes.
And like John Michael Schmidt from Minnesota would love to get that guy in here because he's a big and
Yeah.
he's a
He's
bully.
gonna be a he's man, he's getting
trending upwards
hyped.
fast.
Yeah,
Trending
he's
upwards
like
fast.
he's Senior Bowl darling. It sounds
Yep.
like
Mhm.
it's going to be a lot of the. I have a feeling it's going to be a lot of the Tyler Linderberg, right? Or
Linderbaum?
Lindstrom,
Yeah.
or right, or something like that. Whatever. The Ravens center.
Linderbaum, I
He's going to
believe.
be a first round pick. We're not trying to pick a center in the first round. I don't think. Though I would really like him, and obviously we don't even have a second, so our chances
Yeah.
of getting him is slim. But
Right.
it'd
But
be sweet if somehow, some way, man.
right, yeah. But I mean, overall though, like I said, for Bradbury, at least he's going to get himself paid next season. I think I heard like Spot Rack is estimating him like 10 million a year. I saw another one where he could get like a 3-year, $18 million with 10 million guaranteed, which I think that's fair for him. But anyway,
For
a
us,
huge
though.
bounce back season. Like when he was out, who would have ever thought that we were saying, man, I can't wait for Garrett Bradbury to get back. So, and I think
until that
that's big
Giants
props
game.
to maybe Kevin O'Connell seeing something that the Zimmer regime just didn't see.
Yeah.
but I think it's a very big improvement for Garrett Bradbury. Big B, which I think is his grade as well. I would give him a B for the season. Coming into the season, I'm like, oh, he's a D player, maybe a C- player, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he
Yeah.
stepped
Yeah.
up big, and the biggest thing for him is he's given himself a future in the NFL. Some team will sign him to be their, if not starter, definitely a backup
Yeah.
somewhere. But I think
I think he'll get
he'll
another
have a
shot
starter.
as a starter.
Yeah,
He'll get another shot as a starter, and he did improve, and he was important to our offensive line. He's probably he might be the most consistent of that interior line this year, in my opinion. Actually, even over Ezra Cleveland, but I don't think we bring him back this year. Especially if with the prices that you were saying, like it's fair for him for another team, but I don't think we, especially with our cap situation, I don't think that's a little expensive for him. I
I
don't
mean
think he did that.
6 mil a year ain't bad.
Mm, I'm good on it. On Bradbury, I'm not that convinced by him. I'm not like he had a bounce back season, but it wasn't that great, man. Like he got absolutely handled by the Giants. Obviously, just came back from injury, whatever, but still, I don't know. I don't think I'd take him at that price. Um, what's the highest graded center out there, or paid center?
I have no idea. Not
Yeah,
sure.
who knows? I don't know. I think center is one of those positions that it's a luxury when you do have a really good one, but it doesn't seem like you really need to have a really good one, especially if you
Mm,
have good guards. I don't
mm,
know
I
I don't
don't
think
know.
so.
I don't know. I would
I don't think
disagree.
so.
I would disagree, but
That's fair. That's fair. But I still don't think so.
yeah. But grade wise, what do you give him?
I'm gonna give him a. I'll give him a B minus.
Okay, that's
I'll
fair.
give him a B minus, a
Yeah,
C plus or B minus. I'll go with the B minus. I think he did bounce back. I don't think he looks just like like top 10 center now or
right.
anything.
Yeah,
But he definitely held his own in there this year, and it
for
was
sure.
good to see because we were worried about it.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on, left guard Ezra Cleveland, 1,134 snaps, 5 penalties, 5 sacks, 73.5 PFF grade, 53.2 pass block, 80.3 run block. Again, and that's the thing you get with him is he's coming into the league. He came in as a tackle. I think tackle is still a
Yeah.
more natural position for him. I just don't know if he
Mhm.
has the size / anchor to be an NFL guard for the rest of his career.
Right.
I think he, in a pass heavy offense, I think is where he falters, obviously, with the 53.2 pass block grade. Because in
Right.
years past, my dad always said, I love Ezra Cleveland because you never hear his name. And that's how you know he's doing his job right. This year, obviously, 5 penalties, 5 sacks.
There's one game in
Um,
particular where I think his pass blocking pretty much went down. There's one game he had might have been arguably the worst game out of any of our offensive linemen. I
mm,
forgot who it was against, but he just
right.
got handled
Yeah.
the
But
entire
obviously, the
game.
80.3 run block is solid. And
Yeah,
that's what
that's
you
really
want to
good.
see. But the pass blocking grade, and I think you can tell this team is going to more of a pass heavy offense. And I just don't think that he's got the body or the build to consistently play at guard. I do think he has the athleticism to be a tackle. Maybe needs to put on a little more weight to be a pro starting tackle. But
Mhm.
he's definitely more meant for a run first type of offense. And I think
Right.
that's why you really started to notice some of the limitations this year when we did make that switch to the more pass heavy
Right.
offense.
Right.
So,
Right.
but overall, I think Ezra Cleveland's a very consistent player. If he comes back next year at starting guard, I wouldn't be upset about it.
No, and he's still young. He's still really young.
He is. He's still
So
on a rookie
he can
contract. Yeah.
easily he can continue to improve. We have seen improvements from him pretty much every year. Obviously, the
Mhm.
pass blocking, like the whole thing you said about the pass blocking or whatever, but those are the areas hopefully we
Yeah.
can just see improvement on.
Yep.
And I still think he can still be a really, really good guard.
Right. I mean, because when
But
we
he's still
drafted
young.
him, we thought he was going to be our tackle. We were thinking, oh, good, we get him out of Boise State, bring him in, he can start at tackle. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
I think we kept Riley Reef the year that we
Yeah,
drafted him,
that's
which
what
is
it
why
was.
we kicked him into
Switching the
guard.
guard. Yeah, which
But I
thank
mean,
God we did because we got the next best tackle in the entire
for sure.
NFL that we're
Yeah.
going to be getting to soon.
Yeah. And I promise I'm not going with, I mean, after this one, I won't be able to go with it. I'm not going with the whole like what their last names letters start with, but I do think a C plus is a good grade for Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah.
I really want to give him a B, but I just think, I don't know, the decrease in some of the grades you saw, the sacks piling up, like it's just, I don't know. Just with the way this offense is, I just don't think he had his best season. Again, if we bring him back, I will not be upset. But I
Yeah.
think he's got to,
Oh, he'll be
I think
back.
someone needs to take him and turn him into a tackle. Because like I said, for a pass heavy offense, because he's athletic. So in a run heavy offense, yeah, he can get out in space and he can block. But
Right.
when he needs to set his feet and get an anchor and block, I just don't think he's built for this type of offense.
Yeah, I got to give him a C+ as well. And we've seen our interior, like we're the 13th ranked offensive line, but I really think that comes from our tackles, because we've seen our interior did hold up a lot of the times, I guess, but it was obvious like that was the issue, and it was just those guys, this Cleveland Bradbury and Ed Ingram. So there's obviously some inconsistency there.
Right.
And of course, Ed Ingram's one of those guys too, but
for sure. But like obviously, like just the last three we looked at, I think that's the biggest problem with this team is we just don't have enough bullies on the interior.
yeah.
And that's where a lot of the
And
issues
Ed
came
Ingram's
from.
a pretty big guy, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
hopefully he can
and he's
kind of
still
turn
young
into
again,
that. And
so
he's young. He's so young that he could really be more. He is definitely like the direction we want to go. Obviously, we need to see more consistency, but yeah.
yeah, for sure. So, yeah, so
C+,
really,
I
and
was C+
that's where
as well.
I think we will see a guard or two come to the Vikings in the draft / free agency, just because I think we just need to get bigger and stronger inside. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting what we do with the interior line, just because we have all these young guys like Bradbury. He's the one that's like, all right, we can easily let him walk, but then we have to for sure figure out that center position.
and even if we decide to stick with Slotman, like I think a full off season as
Maybe.
being the guy, I think he'd be okay.
Maybe I would like to get it'd be nice to get a rookie in there
It would.
too. Maybe not as a starter, but just some sort of body.
I'm standing on the table for John Michael Schmitz out of Minnesota. That's my guy.
Yo, would you
That's my
pick him
guy.
in the first round?
I think there's too many needs on defense to take a guard.
Yeah, because
center
he's
in the
not
first
going.
round, personally.
He's probably like, man, with his hype and already what people thought about him, I just can't see him
Getting out of the
first
I don't
round.
know.
I mean, you never know. With centers, you can see really good centers fall to the second.
Mhm.
But that's the thing is we also don't have a second round pick
Yeah.
unless we were to trade back or trade up,
For sure.
trade back with a first round pick or whatever. But we are trading our first round pick for 2024 first round pick, so we can try to do whatever we can to get Caleb Williams anyway. So,
Right. But time will tell what happens at the interior. But one position we know we don't need to worry about is left tackle Christian Darrisaw. 853 snaps, 2 penalties, still 5 sacks. But when you're on that left side, on the blind side, you're going against a lot of really good defenders over there.
And like 2 of those sacks came from one game.
Yeah, 90.3 PFF grade, 81.8 pass block, 90.2 run block. Christian Darrisaw is going to end up being one of the top left tackles in football.
It just needs to stay healthy.
He does.
More
and that's part of his problem too. Was he playing injured at certain points as well? True. But man, just the guy's an absolute stud. He's huge. That's what there's a reason people call him mini Trent Williams. Even Trent Williams coined him as like he's almost like a young me. So that's high praise from a guy like Trent Williams.
That's massive. Trent Williams is the best tackle, the best offensive lineman in the NFL.
For sure. So injury consistency, staying healthy, and then a little more consistency on the field. Christian Darrisaw has all the makings of a franchise left tackle.
Yeah, and he's already turning into it. This was his coming out party a year. He was a rookie last year, right? So literally just his second year in the NFL, and we're already seeing it.
Yeah, he was. Yep.
Yeah. 5 sacks, and he still ended up with a 90.3 PFF grade. That shows a lot. Right. He's our guy.
Yeah. I mean, 81.8 pass block rate is good, but he's a mauler in the run game. Yeah. And that's huge.
Right.
Man, Christian Darrisaw, A season. I'll give him an A season.
I'll give him an A as well. A+. I don't give a lot of A+. As Justin Jefferson's like he's far above A+, but
yeah,
he gets. I think Justin Jefferson and CJ are probably the only A+ we give this.
Yeah. But yeah, man. I mean, so bookend tackles, solid. Interior, a lot of questions.
But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Right. We are. And that's the thing. The tackle spots are the most important. And now it's like you got to just build the interior of that offensive line. And I don't know. We'll see what they decide to do. There's in-house guys, there's drafts, there's free agents. Mm-hmm. So I guess we'll have to see what happens. But overall, what would you give the offensive line as a grade? If you were grading them yourself, I think like
a B-
ish. Yep. I think that's fair. Just
because obviously the tackles combine them. I'll give them both the tackles an A as a combined grade, and then I would have to just give a C I would probably say a C for the interior.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well.
So I think a B-, that's a good grade.
Yep. So I mean, there's a lot of work to do, but at least you got the tackle spots figured out, and from there you
that's
just kind of
huge.
build around him. But
That's
we
huge.
want to know your guys' thoughts on the offensive line. Drop your grades down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikes.